That was Natalia O'Flaherty performing from the National Concert Hall. Such a moving piece. And I think that as we are reminded of the struggles that women face every day, that sense of being targeted or vulnerable, and as we look within ourselves to get a sense of resilience, I can't think of a better guest who could follow that. Delighted to welcome here Marguerite Penrose. She describes herself as a Black Irish woman, an active, happy person who just happens to have a significant disability and who has a wonderful, enviable life. Marguerite, you're very welcome.
Thank you, Jess.
Here today. I mean, your story is extraordinary. You first told it on the Black and Irish blog. You've since been interviewed by Tubridy. You've been featured in the BBC profile piece. You've now written a book. I mean, your story is just very much resonating with so many people. As a way of introduction, can you give us a sense of, like, what are those elements that draws people into your story?
I suppose it is so varied from my humble beginnings, and I've only kind of, Alistair mentioned earlier on about finding your voice and using your voice, so I took a long time to find mine, but I'm so glad I did, because it is about speaking out, and a part of being a change in Ireland or in any country, wherever you live, is actually being okay with speaking and using your voice, about being authentic and being uniquely yourself, you know. So I started off, I was born in St. James Hospital, and I went straight to a mother and baby home, St. Patrick's on the Navan Road. So I spent my first 3 years living life there. And then I was fostered and then adopted by my amazing family, the Penroses. Yeah. So I was born with congenital scoliosis, and I was also missing 3 ribs on my left-hand side. So I actually have 3 artificial titanium ribs inserted by a dentist.
Inserted by a dentist?
Yeah, made by a dentist. Well, inserted by a surgeon, I suppose, but made by a dentist. Yeah, that's it. So, yeah, I suppose, and then obviously a Black Irish woman. And a lot of conversations now, again, obviously about mother and baby, about being Black, about being mixed race, a person of colour. And I suppose using your voice to make the change, to be the influence. I would never have thought of myself as that, but I suppose writing the book has really made me look back on my life and said, right, okay, my life is a little bit different to everybody else's, but everybody's life is different, you know.
And you talk about, like, being marked out as different. There's this lovely line in the book when you say that when most people see me, they do not see an Irish woman. Often they hold a load of assumptions about me that are nearly always completely wrong just because of how I look. Yeah. Like, what are those assumptions that people make about you?
I suppose being really small, maybe they tend to think that you're weak. Obviously being Black, that how can you be Irish and be Black, you know? And I'm always having to explain, you know, where I came from, you know, as well. So when they look at you, it's not the same, and you know it's not the same. So it's about being able to kind of just project yourself as the person that you are, trying not to explain yourself all the time, because I'm not asking people to explain themselves. So acceptance of everybody really is a major part of that. Obviously with a disability, people see you differently. You know, they tend to talk maybe to the person beside you rather than yourself. Now again, it's not everybody, but it's making people aware of the way that you see other people.
And when you hear those questions, because I struggle with this, trying to decipher between a well-intentioned, where are you from, with a less well-intentioned, yeah, but where are you really from? Yeah. I'm hearing giggles from the audience of people recognizing.
I know, yeah.
How do you do that? I need tips.
Yeah, no, it doesn't really get any easier. As you said, it's the manner and the way people are. Like, someone say, where are you from? You know, and there's no connotation to it. But then other people, they give you a look, or they're kind of, yeah, but where are you really from? You know, so hence the name of my book. And people, like, the amount of messages I got about, you know, when the Penguin made the announcement about the book, it's like, oh my God, this resonates so much with me. I've heard people say it to my friends. So I think, yeah, it can be hard, because if I say I'm from Dublin, I was born in Dublin, that should be enough, you know, whereas there's always another question. And then after that, there's another question. So it's, I suppose, not being too personal with people. it's same with my, you know, because of my disability, because of having scoliosis, like my organs are all squashed, my body isn't aligned the same way. So they're all saying, oh, you're so skinny, you must eat nothing. You know, so it's like, I'm not going to walk up to somebody and say, oh my God, you're so fat, you must eat loads. So, but you know, it sounds crazy, but this is what you get all the time. Or total strangers will come across if I'm out, say, oh my God, you're tiny. You know, it's just, I suppose, the language that we use to people and invading people's personal lives and space. And in a public manner, you know, I have friends that, like, they're laughing at me about the book. They're like, I can't wait to read all about you, you know, because I'm quite a private person, so doing this is quite scary. But if I don't speak out and I don't do something about it, I'm part of the problem, you know. So I kind of feel a bit guilty that I haven't spoken out over the past years, but we have to kind of get past that and just do what's important to us now in the present.
And so what made you speak out? Was there anyone who inspired you?
Yeah, Christine Buckley.
I mean, that's an Irish hero.
Yeah, like, I remember her interview. And obviously being a black woman, you know, I was like, oh, who's this, you know? And then her story is so powerful. She is a hero of mine, definitely. Again, growing up, you were probably the same, Jess. You don't see, like, I didn't see anybody. The next person of colour I saw was when I was in 5th class in school. So up to that stage, I'd never seen anybody else.
You talk about going to Heathrow Airport and seeing people for the first time.
That was an experience.
Like, not standing out.
Yeah, I just felt, oh, here, you know, I'm not different here, as in skin colour wise. But it was like, I'll never forget my first Heathrow experience. I couldn't get over it, you know. Whereas here, I was always prepped everywhere we went now. Don't mind if people stare at you, you know. My parents were brilliant. Like, they gave me the positive side of it. They're like, it's only because your skin colour is gorgeous. It's only because you're so cute. And, you know, so I got the positive aspect of it. Whereas you do, like, people stare all the time. That's natural. But I think it's becoming more aware of your own actions, you know. And again, it comes across as, yeah, you can ask people questions, but you have to ask permission. Is it okay if I ask you about, you know, not just dive straight in there with the questions. So, yeah, so just bringing awareness to what we can and what we can't ask people.
So Christine Buckley inspired you, and here you are now writing a book. Asking this question just slightly selfishly, but what would you like other Black Irish women specifically to take out of your book?
That it's okay to speak up, stand in your power. You know, they all sound like cliches. Like, you'll see from my Instagram feed, you know, it is a lot of powerful, positive quotes. They're all cliches, but they're actually applied to everyday life. That's how I made the change to the person that I am today. I'm very heavily into meditation, to the power of positivity, because, you know, there's so much going on in the world now. For everybody, you know, pandemic really taught us that. But pandemic for me was completely different, because I literally went to saying nothing to, here I am here today, you know, something I'd never thought I'd done. I wrote a book. I always wanted to write a book. My story, everybody would say to me, there's a book in you. And I'd say, oh, yeah, but never actually did anything about it. So
I highly recommend the book. There are so many labels that I think have been imposed upon you. Yeah. And there's some, like, because I want people to know what else you do. You work for Ryanair. You are a makeup artist. You worked as a bridal store manager and buyer. You are a Reiki master, and now you have that extra label of being an author as well. I mean, it's an incredible story. Never mind all those, I spoke at the beginning about kind of things that we have to overcome about being vulnerable. And I suppose there's a lot of resilience there in the story and the positivity. And
hopefully so. Thank you for saying those lovely things. You had the very good privilege of reading the book. My family were like, how come everyone's reading the book?
Don't tell her, Daddy.
Yeah, that's over there. But no, it's again, it's something I didn't think I was ever going to do. It's funny how it came about. It was an October winter evening, and I just said, you know something, I'm going to do it. But it was after doing the Black and Irish feeds. Again, if anybody has a look at their page or knows of them, they kind of made a call out for people to, you know, tell them their story. So when I looked, they only had like 6 or 7 stories, and they were all quite young. And I was like, oh, maybe they'd like an older person's view. And so I toddled up something and said, you know, let's throw it out there. And that's how it began, I suppose, from there.
And I'm so glad you did.
Oh, thank you.
Everyone give a big round of applause for Marguerite Penrose.
Oh, thank you. Thanks, Jess.
So next up, we're going to explore sustainability in action and take a look at what the next generation has to say about the planet.